The White Bear Area Chamber of Commerce and On Location TV19 are proud to present Your Business Matters, dedicated to your business needs. The White Bear Area Chamber is a nonprofit business organization serving as an advocate for the White Bear area and its business community. Now here is the Executive Director of the White Bear Area Chamber and the host of Your Business Matters, Tom Snell.
Welcome to the White Bear Area Chamber of Commerce Your Business Matters television program. Today, as our guests, we have two individuals from Lakes International Language Academy. It's one of the schools that we have in our community that really focuses on future leadership skills, which is so important to the business community for our future economic development, our future business growth, and prosperity in our area. So we're going to start with our program, and welcome to Your Business Matters. Our guests today are Cam Hedlund, the Director of Lakes International Language Academy, and Shannon Peterson, the Assistant Director. Now, from my understanding, this is a charter school, is that correct?
Correct.
And where are you located?
We're located in Forest Lake, right in the center of town, in the old District Memorial Hospital building.
Okay. Now, you're a charter school.
Right.
And is a charter school a public school? Is it something different? What exactly is a charter school?
It is a public school, Tom, and we receive the same per pupil funding that any public school, elementary or secondary in Minnesota would receive. We do have our own school board that is made up of parents and community members.
Okay.
We do not have some of the same rights as what we would consider traditional public schools, but we are a public school in Minnesota.
Okay. So a student that goes to your school, do they have to come up with the tuition payments?
There is no tuition. We are a free, tuition-free public school.
And anybody can apply?
Absolutely, anybody can apply. We cannot deny anyone, just as if you went to your neighborhood school and wanted to go to school.
Now, you're located up in Forest Lake. Do you have any students that go to your school from the White Bear area? That would include Hugo, White Bear Township, Vadnais Heights?
We have a large number of students. About a third of our students actually come from outside the Forest Lake School District.
Wow. I mean, that's really incredible.
Yeah.
Right.
And why do you think that is?
I think we learned quickly, we assumed it was the language, which is a very important piece of what we do, obviously. But we learned quickly people came to us primarily for three reasons. One, for the language, some for the International Baccalaureate program, has a good reputation, and some just like the idea of a charter school that's a little bit more flexible, a little bit more responsive, or the ability to be responsive to individual needs.
And how did this school develop?
I'm going to let Shannon talk about that, and that she's one of the founding members.
Yeah, way back in the early 2000s, there were a group of parents who were interested in starting a language immersion school. And at that point, all we knew is we wanted to do language immersion, and we were looking around at what was being offered before and after school, at preschools, private tuition, in terms of which language to choose, and we thought Spanish is the language that this community wants. So we decided to do Spanish immersion, and we had initially gone to the district school board and tried to get it going there, but the climate was just not right and the timing was not right for them to be able to support it. So charters were an option, and eventually we decided to start a charter school.
Wonderful. And you mentioned that you wanted to start an immersion program, and I understand you offer both Spanish and Mandarin is a form of the Chinese language.
Right.
Why did you pick Spanish and Mandarin over French and Dutch, for example?
a lot of language immersion schools will choose a world language, choose something that's practical and needed by the country, and for whatever reason. And Spanish is one of those languages that is growing in the country and has growing needs. People who are going into business, whether it's going to be owning their own contracting firm or an international firm somewhere, are going to need or will do better with a second language. So we were trying to be very practical when we chose Spanish. And then a few years later, last year in fact, we decided to add a second immersion language and went with Mandarin because it's one of the critical needs languages in this country.
And why is it a critical need language to learn Mandarin?
The different branches of the government determine which languages are critical needs for different reasons. So for either diplomacy or for business. And I think Mandarin fits both of those needs.
I know that most of the major companies and a lot of smaller companies in Minnesota do business in China, and obviously I think Mandarin is the #1 language in that country.
Yeah,
so,
it's the most spoken language in the world.
Now, what is the International Baccalaureate program? Because your academics are focused on that program, is that correct?
Right.
And why should a parent be interested in their students going into IB rather than just regular classrooms or regular classroom experience that might be AP or some other type of advanced study? And I understand that IB would be considered an advanced type of program.
Right. At the high school level, there are a lot of really good options in Minnesota, and right in our own community in Forest Lake and in White Bear Lake, there are a lot of good options. But at the elementary level, we really liked the IB because it brought in the language as a necessary factor for the program, and it also brought in international mindedness and as a necessary factor for the program. And we want our students to know about their own country and cultures in the United States, but we also want them to know that there are other countries and cultures and how we interact with them. We want them to have a really broad perspective.
And then, go ahead.
I'd like to just add one other piece. A really important piece to me as I started to learn about the IB is what they call their learner profile. And the social side of kids and development, the emotional development, and that is every bit as important as the academic side. They've got a learner profile that has 10 characteristics of being a risk taker, of being knowledgeable, being caring, being a thinker, the kinds of things you would want in a leader. And it's just, we put as much emphasis on those things as we do on learning your math and your reading.
Okay, so you do all of that. And is your school full? I mean, do you need students or?
Well, we are full in one sense. We're growing every single year. We did just add the Chinese immersion program last year, and that hasn't, people aren't aware that we have it yet. And so that started with only 2 kindergarten classes last year versus...
but you got 2 kindergarten classes, 2 already.
Right.
I think that's pretty incredible.
Well, thank you, but it's about half the size of our Spanish immersion program. And then this year again, we've got enough for 2 kindergarten classes, but we do have a few spaces left in the kindergarten program.
You do. So parents that are interested in Spanish immersion and IB can...
On the Chinese side, we have openings. The Spanish side at this point is full.
The Spanish is full, but the Mandarin has some opportunities available.
Right.
Is it difficult to find teachers? I mean, to find a teacher that can converse in Mandarin. That do you have to have licensed teachers for charter schools?
Yeah. Charter schools need to have all the same requirements as any public school. So we need to find teachers who are licensed, or else we need to ask for special permissions. A lot of our teachers who come from overseas are licensed in their home countries.
Yep.
But it takes a while for that to transfer here. Sometimes they need to take a few classes, or sometimes Minnesota won't even recognize their home degree, and they'll need to start over. So in the interim, we need to ask for special permissions for them to be able to teach.
Well, so that's how you are able to use the Mandarin opportunity for parents. So.
And a lot of districts that are adding Mandarin are finding that they need to do the same thing.
Have you done any collaboration with businesses to this point? Have you worked with any local companies that might be looking for things?
We have a lot of, from our own parent group.
Yes.
We have 400 families, 650
400.
kids. Yeah, we have a lot of, our Spanish program is probably just over 600 kids all by itself.
Wow.
And we think the Chinese will probably grow to about half of that.
Oh, that's incredible.
And so we have a lot of parents that have their own connections
Sure.
that we partner with and do things with. We have not sought external partnerships at this point, but quite a few have come to us naturally. The other piece about how hard it is to find teachers, when we first started our program 9 years ago, we were the 8th immersion program in Minnesota, and so there wasn't a lot of competition. Now there's probably 70 immersion programs in Minnesota.
70.
And so every year it gets a little bit harder. It really is a wonderful way to educate kids and is catching on.
Yeah, I know that there's some Mandarin immersion programs out in the western suburbs,
Right.
I know, and I know St. Paul has one.
Right.
But it's nice to have that type of opportunity for students in the northeast suburbs of St. Paul.
Right.
So that's great. Do you see, for a long-term vision for your school, do you see your students moving into what type of career opportunities, what type of service opportunities that are out there in our general community?
The door is wide open for our
Okay.
students. By having 2 languages and by having the IB background and the focus on the learner profile, they can do whatever they want. I mean, we're looking for them to become very active in international business and very active in medicine and careers within the Minnesota area that require or would benefit from a second language. We're looking for them to be ambassadors. We're looking for a lot of success.
You really envision your school to be an opportunity for students that might want to become leaders in their community and leaders in government, leaders in business in the future. I mean, that seems to be what your focus is. Would that be an accurate assumption to make?
I think it's the natural extension of what we are creating.
Okay, all right.
Just as an example, we require all of our teachers to have lived in some other country of the language that they're teaching. And so just by example, we have people that really have been around the world and have connections and have worked and have lived in other places. And we provide those opportunities for our students. Our students as young as 7th grade or between 6th and 7th grade are taking trips to where they're getting exposure to the world.
Sure.
And so we absolutely believe our students will become the leaders of tomorrow.
That's wonderful. And that's so important for our community because we want to be able to attract young professionals into our area. We want to be able to attract people that are going to focus on having the right type of education opportunities available. And that's why people move into a community, and I think that you help support that effort by having the type of innovative educational opportunities out there. So I really are thrilled about that. Another question I want to ask you about is the International Baccalaureate program. Again, we touched on it a little bit. First of all, if a student is able to do a good job testing in the International Baccalaureate and they graduate with what is called, I guess, an IB degree, right?
Right.
Diploma, right?
What are some of the opportunities that they might have with an IB degree that a student that maybe doesn't pursue that?
I think, as Shannon had mentioned earlier, there are lots of programs that really help challenge kids and provide good foundations. The AP courses in college, in high schools, the college and the school
Right.
programs, and then you have the International Baccalaureate. The International Baccalaureate was started back in the 1940s, really to help students that were families living abroad, and wanted to send their college students then back to the U.S. to get good college educations.
Sure.
Those institutions didn't recognize a high school diploma from France or from India or from wherever. And so this program was developed to really create a worldwide accountability system that colleges could depend on.
And obviously, we have to compete in a world environment now.
Yeah, and so having that diploma, an international baccalaureate diploma, really, for most colleges, says that this person really is ready to tackle most anything, and I think is a very valuable piece of paper.
Wonderful. So that's what it offers for students. And when does the IB program actually start? Does it start in grade school or high school?
Kindergarten. It starts in kindergarten. Actually, if we had space, we would
Yeah.
have a preschool because it starts at age 3. And,
Age 3?
and goes. They have programming available all the way from grade 3 through graduation.
They have 3 main programs. The primary
Okay.
years program, which runs through 5th or 6th grade, depending on your configuration. And then a middle level program, they call it MYP, that's from 5 to 10, 9 actually, and then 9 or 10. And then the diploma program, which is very heavy into testing and making kids ready for college, which is their 11th and 12th grade program.
And so your school starts in
Kindergarten.
kindergarten and goes through 12th grade?
Through
Sixth
6th
grade.
grade.
6th grade.
But we have our students then move on to Forest Lake Middle School, their junior high actually, where we partner with them to provide programming for our kids. And at this point, they're not an international baccalaureate program, but they are instituting 2 different schools that are looking at it very seriously, both in elementary school and their middle school, I think as a direct result of our involvement with them. And we're very hopeful that those programs will be there very soon.
So IB programs for the high school students.
For the middle school at this point, and then as those
Okay.
kids get older, we will certainly look at the high school
Because you
program.
go through 6th
Right.
grade. Have you had any discussions about going to higher grade levels with your program?
We talk about it all the time, and the second year we were open, we were already planning for what would happen to our kids as they left us. And at that time, we did some really extensive studying, what was more practical, to create another school that would, and at that point, we talked to surrounding districts, including Forest Lake, where which is our host district. And they really stepped up and said, we would just really love to develop some programming for your students. And so together we have developed a program at Southwest Junior High where our students then have the opportunity as they become 7th graders to take 3 content courses in Spanish now, because our Spanish kids are actually up as high as 11th grade, 12th grade next year. And that program has been very successful. And as we added Chinese last year, Forest Lake has made the commitment to add Chinese, and they'll be starting Chinese programming at the secondary level this fall.
So you really are a catalyst for education opportunities then. I mean, you start something, and then I think it makes other schools become more attuned to the needs of a community. I mean, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but that seems to be...
we wear that label, I guess, very proudly, and are glad to see more opportunity for students. Forest Lake has started their own primary immersion programs and are committed to developing the middle level and beyond with us for their kids and our kids as they get to that
Now,
age.
you said, too, that there were a lot of White Bear students that go to your program. Any discussion with the White Bear School District about the kids that are going through in our area and their continuation with some of the immersion opportunities and IB opportunities?
We have not had any direct conversations with them. Our parents, because 1/3 of our students live outside of Forest Lake, they have some real decisions to make as their kids get to 5th and 6th grade. Are they going to go back to home districts or stay with us? And to this point, 90% of our 6th graders have moved on to Southwest Junior High within Forest Lake.
Yep.
Because we've developed such good programming there. But I know White Bear has done an awful lot to start language programs. And I think that's really a next step, is to maybe confer with them as to what they would be providing maybe as some of their students come back from our program.
It sounds like a really good way to start and move forward with your educational opportunities. And obviously, if you ever are looking to put something in White Bear Lake, we would be more than happy to collaborate and work with you. So
Thank you.
Let you know that.
Appreciate it.
Now, if a parent is interested or a student is interested in learning more about your school, what is your website and who can they contact? What information
I'll
can
let
you
you
give them?
share that.
They can go to www.lakesinternational.org. And on there is all kinds of content about the school and also contact information.
Okay, great.
And we have staff there all summer long. They can come for a tour. We give tours regularly.
Excellent.
People are interested. We have a lot of people with 2- and 3-year-olds that are already thinking about their child's education and come for tours.
Well, you seem to have a lot of opportunities available for students in the White Bear area.
Yeah.
And so I want to thank you for coming out and giving us a snapshot of what you have to offer to the community at large.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Very much.
Thank you. It's been fun.
This is Tom Snell from Your Business Matters.
You've been watching Your Business Matters. For more information on this program or the White Bear Area Chamber, visit www.whitebearchamber.com or call 651-429-8593.
Uno, dos, tres.
At Lakes International Language Academy,
we instill in our students 10 attributes which make up
the International Baccalaureate Learner Profile.
U, Leo, T.
These attributes help our students develop into
lifelong learners, citizens of the world,
citizens of the world and responsible stewards of our planet.
7, 8, 9, 10. Somos indagadores.
we solve mysteries, we use our 5 senses, we look for answers everywhere we go.
Somos informados.
We remember things that are important. We answer questions. We teach each other.
Somos pensadores.
We think of what to do and how to do it. We think of how to solve problems. We think about the needs of others.
Somos buenos comunicadores.
We talk to other people. We look into the person's eyes when we speak to them. We use the right tone of voice.
Somos íntegros.
We play safe. We talk to resolve problems. We follow the rules.
Somos de mentalidad abierta.
We understand that everyone is different. We are open to new ideas. We try new foods.
Somos solidarios.
We don't make pollution. We make new friends.
Somos audaces.
We do things that are new. We feel creative, nervous, and good. We show off our abilities.
Somos equilibrados.
We exercise. We study. We rest.
Somos reflexivos.
We think. We listen. We ask ourselves questions.
At LILA, we're all learners.
And with these learner profiles,
we are able to inspire, guide, and nurture our students
into becoming compassionate and internationally minded citizens.
Gracias. 谢谢. 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 Thank you for joining us in our efforts.
Together, we are truly making a difference in our children's future.